Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is a practical histological lab of the lip and the tongue. Starting with a section of the lip. Here, the first part or external surface of the lip represented by the skin. You can see here all the characteristics of the skin represented by epidermis and dermis. Here the epidermis is stratified, keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium tissue. And you can see all the characteristics of the skin represented by the hair follicles and sebaceous glands. After the external surface, you can see another part of the lip represented by vermilion zone. Vermilion zone here thin, composed of epidermis, of thin keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Beneath it here the connective tissue highly vascularized. So this area you can see it red in color regarding to the highly vascular area of the connective tissue. After this part you can see here expanded part represented the oral mucosa, lining of the oral cavity. Here the inner part of the lip, or it is called the oral mucosa. Here the oral mucosa, it is stratified squamous epithelium tissue. The core of the lip, you can see here the labial gland, serous type, and highly vascularized with the connective tissue. Here another section for the lip shows the external surface of the lip or the skin. You can see here the hair follicles and sebaceous gland. This section shows the vermilion zone of the lip. You can see here the thin keratinized stratified squamous epithelium tissue, and beneath it there's a highly vascularized connective tissue. Here you can see the vessels highly vascularized. All of these is the blood vessels. Another section shows here the lining of the lip, or it's called oral mucosa. Here you can see the stratified squamous epithelium, non-keratinized, and here you can see the core of the lip and the labial gland of serous type. Another slide you will study in the lab, it is the tongue. Here, this section, this longitudinal section, shows the dorsal surface of the tongue. Dorsal surface, or the upper surface of the tongue. They are composed of mucosa. Here the mucosa composed of stratified squamous epithelium tissue with papillae. And beneath the mucosa, there is a lamina propria. Here in the green of color, this is the lamina propria of connective tissue. In the upper surface of the tongue, as I say, there is the stratified squamous epithelium with papillae. Here you can see two types of the papillae. First, numerous papillae, thread-like, with conified tips. They are called filiform papillae. Filiform papillae. And there is another type of papillae. It is the fungiform. Fungiform, you can see it here, like a mushroom or mushroom-like, and the core of the fungiform papillae composed of lamina propria. The core of the tongue composed of a different direction of skeletal muscles. Here, another section shows the fungiform papillae. Here, the fungiform papilla with a broad surface, non-keratinized, and the core composed of lamina propria. All of these papillae represent the filiform papillae. You can see it like a thread-like. While the fungiform, here you can see it as mushroom-like. Here another section or a vertical section that shows the circumvaled papilla, the largest papilla that found on the dorsal surface or upper surface of the tongue. You can see here it is rounded in shape, covered by stratified squamous epithelium tissue, and there is taste buds embedded in the epithelium on both sides of this papilla. There is a narrow sulcus or a narrow groove surround the circumvaled papilla. Also, here you can see in this section a serous glands. Serous glands that secretes the serous secretion at the base of the groove that surround the circumvaled papilla. These glands are called von Apner's glands. Here another section shows the neurosulcus or the groove that surround the circumvaled papilla, and you can see here the taste buds that embedded in the epithelium of this papilla. Also, you can see here the von Apner's gland at the base of this neurosulcus or groove that surround this papilla. Here, another longitudinal section of the tongue shows the ventral lower surface of the tongue. The ventral lower surface of the tongue is composed of mucosa of stratified squamous epithelium tissue non-keratinized. Here the epithelium, and here you can see the lamina propria. So the mucosa composed of stratified epithelium and lamina propria of connective tissue. In the lower part of the tongue, there is no papillae. Here the core of the tongue composed of different direction of skeletal muscle.